And hello to YouTube. Oh man, tired. Not making a lot of sense. Not making a lot of sense already. Yeah, I just jaywalked behind the intersection. It worked out better for me. Sometimes that sort of thing works out better for me. So I think it's Tuesday. Yes, it is Tuesday. It's Tuesday, May 3rd, 2022. Straight up 6 o'clock p.m. Wow, I wonder if I'll see the 5:41 Rapid. Usually seems like the 5:41 p.m. Rapid drops off right around this time. So I didn't take that today. I just took the 41 all the way to work. That worked out pretty well. I mean, yeah, it's a pretty long, painfully boring ride, but I made use of the time. Managed to get my Discover Card app working on Obama phone number 3. I was looking at this phone, this particular phone, as just sort of a temporary thing, and and just a way to get a lot of free wireless data, since TrueConnect I always get them confused. I'm pretty sure my TrueConnect SIM card has long been shut off because I was never able to activate it in the Samsung. And now I'm going on, a good solid 2 weeks since the week and a half since the Samsung was stolen from me. Where was I? So anyway, yeah, not TrueConnect, but the other Obama phone service provider, Lifeline phone service provider I've been using. TrueConnect is the only one I can remember the name of, and that's not the one I'm using. Assurance Wireless, that's it. Yes, I was just looking at Assurance Wireless as just a means to get free mobile data. Well, there's a police officer just camping out in the parking ride in the shaded parking. That's interesting. I guess it's good to know the people who have their cars parked in the parking ride are getting them watched while all sorts of crime is happening at the bus stops a half mile in either direction, east or west of here. Phoenix PD at work. In fact, I just did a snap of a homeless person camping out at the bus stop on the north side of McDowell at 75th Avenue. Had a bicycle blocking access to the bus bench. A really shitty bicycle, and he had his legs on it, and then he had his head all wrapped up in his shirt. I don't know, it just really frustrates me. Like, that's not a hotel, it's not a homeless shelter. It's a place for people to be able to comfortably and safely sit while they're waiting for the bus. Get the fuck off my bus stop. Which is basically what I told somebody as I ran them off my bus stop there at 48th Street. I'm losing patience with it and starting to take that shit into my own hands. I have no problem with yelling at people to get the fuck off the bus stop. Although that really should be the job of the police. There is a law and they're not enforcing it. So no word at all this week regarding my car. Last week I sent I don't know, 2 or 3 text messages to Rob along lines of, hey, what's the deal with my car? Supposed to be done, going to be done tomorrow and in a couple of days, like all week before last. What the fuck is the deal with my car? I have no idea. And I'm working so much this week, I don't really have time to go to Rob's shop and figure out, and bug him about it. Shopping cart's still here. The tarp obstructing the hole in the fence is gone. Kind of wish they'd gone the other way around on that. Hey, look. Spoons. All right. Speaking of tarps, looks like the person in that beaten down RV has got additional tarps to cover up their garbage. That's lovely. I really wish they would just properly connect 79th Avenue from that bridge to north of Roosevelt. I think ADOT and Phoenix could get together and finish the goddamn street. Instead of worrying about this stupid lock trying to obstruct people who are just trying to get to fucking work. Alright, God, so much garbage over here now. So let's see. Last night, I didn't. God, I'm on my 4th day of Amazon in a row, and I still got one more. So really looking forward to getting overtime this week, although it's not going to be the 10 hours of overtime I was hoping for. Last night I was tired and wasn't feeling so great. And then in the middle of my middle of my shift at Amazon, I got some bad news from my mother that she just found out that her only brother, my uncle, had died. So that's frustrating. Not that I've had any contact with that uncle in decades, but it's something I think about. If there's anything I genuinely regret, as I've made it from my 40s to my 50s, is how much extended family I pretty much completely lost touch with after becoming a teenager. And it certainly hasn't been intentional, and over the last decade, it's something I've thought a whole lot about. But the reality is that I'd already succeeded in losing contact with most of those relatives, most of that extended family, and I could go both ways on it. It's not like they've made any real effort to maintain touch with me, but yeah, it's like I realize that kind of contact with extended family is almost something that's reserved for the people in upper income brackets. I mean, there's a part of me that would love to regularly go visit my sisters and regularly go visit aunts and uncles, and the reality is that I don't make enough to travel. I don't make enough to drive. I walk. My world is this dusty path between the bus stop and the warehouse that pays me a couple of bucks more than minimum wage. All right, there's another not in service bus. Sure would be nice if that was in service and I could take a bus like this close to work. That would be awesome. But yeah, more not in service buses. We have lots of those. So sorry, I'm not making a whole lot of sense today. Anyway, my uncle is gone. I'm no longer have a chance to reconnect with him, and apparently he's been gone for a while. My mother only just barely got the news, which is even more frustrating. My memories of that particular uncle are kind of distant, but I do recall that him and I had a lot of things that we kind of had in common, and probably had I managed to maintain that relationship, it would have been something. I remember as a child, before I got into hi-fi audio components and really into music myself, and to be fair, like, I've been really into music since I was a toddler, but as far as actually, buying my own records, buying hi-fi audio components and putting together component systems, that was not something that my parents had. But my Uncle Floyd had a pretty impressive component system. I remember him having a reel-to-reel deck and having in the late 70s, having a wall with shelves with all kinds of shiny silver-faced separate audio components. And I remember the sound quality when he would play music just being really, really good. And I remember him being into a lot of the bands that I really liked. I mean, he had Hendrix, he had Moody Blues. I feel like that's something that had him and I, maybe managed to reconnect when I was in my 20s or 30s and maintain some kind of a uncle/nephew relationship that we could have, maybe exchanged records and components and whatnot. But I don't know, he's gone, and I expect most of his components are probably just going to land in the trash. It's my understanding that he just left everything to some friend of his, as he'd become pretty disconnected from family, and I don't think he had any. I don't know that he had any children of his own. If I've got cousins through him, I'm unaware of him. So, yeah, it's kind of sad, and it's one of those sort of things that makes me, in a little bit, in some ways, kind of jealous of people that do have more solid family connections. And on that note, Priscilla's aunt has been in town for the last. Most of this last week. She flew back out early this morning, back to Atlanta. So, yeah, I don't really have much in the way of aunts and uncles to try and connect with anymore now that Floyd is gone. I got some second cousins that I sort of lost touch with after my great aunt passed. Really like my great aunt Phyllis, that passed. Her and I had really, really reconnected pretty well, and we're talking regular on the phone. And I made a couple trips to see her, and then bam, she was gone too. And the day she passed, I had actually made a trip to connect with my other great aunt on my father's side, and yeah, she's gone now too. I was hoping to see her again, but didn't work out. And in the last year of her life, I couldn't have seen her anyway due to California COVID restrictions. So I largely think that's a large part of why she passed. I think she just kind of lost her will to live, locked up in a room where she couldn't leave or have any visitors. Damn, it's not wanting to end this video on such a down note, but I was kind of reflecting on life and death and disconnection. So anyway, yeah, super tired at work last night. I ended up leaving at about, I want to say about 3:45 instead of my usual 5:30. So got off almost 2 hours early. Took the, and it's good to know, I've never really checked to see how early I could leave. Generally speaking, when they're asking, hey, does anybody want to go home early, take some VTO, which is voluntary time off. Does anybody want to do that? Usually my answer is, yeah, no bus is running. I have no way to get home. But after it was offered to me, I want to say around 3 o'clock or 2:45, and I was feeling tired, like insanely tired, and went on my third break, and while I was in the break room, I looked up to see, when exactly is the earliest bus I could get home from here. And that earliest bus looked like it was about 4:05. And I've definitely learned from experiences that buses that are at 4:05, you better be to that bus stop before 4 a.m. because those drivers have a tendency to just drive those routes as fast as they can since there's no traffic that early in the morning, and hit those stops earlier than they should. And this one, no exception. He hit that stop, I want to say, about 5 minutes early. But I made it there in time, so that's a good thing. Apparently there was some kind of shooting early yesterday morning, late last night, near the intersection of 63rd Avenue and McDowell, and that created, 67th Avenue and McDowell, and that created a bit of an issue. Like, the bus got there, and then we sat there, I want to say, for 20 minutes. maybe longer. After we'd been sitting there for about 5-8 minutes, something like that, the driver kind of stood up and announced to the, I don't know, there may be 4 or 5 of us on the bus. There's not a lot of people that ride the bus at 4 a.m, but the other people on the bus all seemed to be similar to me. They were wearing safety vests and on their way home from graveyard shifts, and all had, long nights of work and were tired and would really like to get home. But the driver said that that he was unable to drive. It was one of those articulated buses. So basically the double length buses that are like 2 buses linked together with the hinge in the middle. Yeah, I'm not really a big fan of those buses. I mean, yeah, they hold a lot more people, but here's a novel concept. Instead of running one of those every 30 minutes, how about you run a normal bus every 15 minutes? That would service the population a whole lot better and create a lot less traffic problem, because there are places that those articulated buses don't go well. And one of those places is parking lots. So apparently they were diverting traffic off of McDowell through a strip mall parking lot, but they were unable to do that with the articulated bus. So the driver said that, yeah, he was unable to take the detour through the parking lot, and he's not able to do a U-turn without his supervisor, so we were stuck there waiting for his supervisor to show up. And yeah, about 20 minutes sat there. That sucked. So much for getting to go home so much earlier than normal. Yeah, eventually the supervisor showed up, and it was quite the maneuver involving police to get that bus to make a U-turn and go the other direction, back towards 75th Avenue on McDowell. Now, personally, I'm puzzled why the police, if they're there and they've got a scene or whatever that they're dealing with, why the police can't, like, I understand, okay, we're not letting passenger cars through here, but why the police, especially when it only runs every half hour, why a police officer can't guide an articulated bus through their closed off bit of road so I can continue the route. I mean, would they have stopped an ambulance or a fire truck as well? I mean, let's face it, the bus is a municipal vehicle, and it's sort of a backbone of transportation. It seems like they should be making extra, other accommodations for that. Or if nothing else, we could have been routed through some residential streets. I did notice that a 67, because 67th Avenue was closest as well, I did notice a Route 67 going through residential streets just away from the intersection as I was watching on the bus app. So, there's options, and they really weren't used. So yeah, I sat there for about 20 minutes, and then eventually the bus made a U-turn with the assistance, which involves some kind of sketchy backing up. Which is kind of a scary thing in an articulated bus. Scary thing in buses in general, but particularly an articulated bus. And then it ended up going the opposite direction down McDowell to 75th, made a left on 75th to I-10, got on I-10, took the 67th Avenue exit, and then used the frontage road up to 59th Avenue, where it made a left and took 59th Avenue to McDowell Road, turned right on 59th Avenue, and resumed its route, running about 20 minutes behind schedule. 20 minutes behind schedule isn't shit for Route 17 in the daytime, but it is kind of unusual for Route 17 that early in the morning. Now, I really feel sorry for people that were waiting, trying to get to early morning jobs, that were waiting between 67th Avenue and 59th Avenue. And I'm sure no thought was given to them. And no other transportation was provided for them. So hopefully none of those people lost their job over our public transits and our police department's ineptitude that forgets those people. Anyway, so yeah, that was my exciting morning. Got to sleep early. Was kind of surprised that when I got home that Priscilla wasn't there. And of course my thoughts immediately started racing of, she's out with, here it starts again. She's staying the night with other people. But she did climb into my bed. I don't know what time. I did manage to fall asleep first, but she did climb in bed and actually join me, I don't know, sometime around 7 a.m., 7:30 a.m., and explained that she had gone out the night before with her aunt who's in town, was in town from Atlanta, and that that she was like hanging out with her in her hotel suite and ended up passing out on the couch. And usually the excuses she gives me as to why she's out all night just strike me as bullshit. But that I'm kind of inclined to believe that one. I mean, I know if my aunt was in town, I would, if I still had an aunt that was alive. I guess I do have an aunt on my father's side that's alive. My